Hey everyone, and welcome to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. My name is Connor, and for this special episode, we are joined by a special guest. We also have Rebecca and Omar here as well. Hosting, Carl couldn't make it because he needs to sleep. Very awkward hour for him, which is fine, obviously. You know, he's got to wake up early, get that coffee, sort his kids, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we are joined by Mike Perkins, who did the art for Ed Brisson's 2017 Iron Fist run, and he's also currently doing the art of Swamp Thing. I'll put some stuff in the show notes, but yeah, very exciting, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Tell me, though, what's his technique? That last strike, it seems invincible.
Hey everyone, and today on the podcast we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Mike Perkins. Hello.
Woohoo!
Hello.
Hello, Mike.
For those in the dark, he illustrated the 2017 Iron Fist run and worked with Ed Brisson. So really excited to have you on here.
Or Edmund Brisson, as he is.
Oh wow!
Apparently that is actually his.
Oh, really?
Real pronunciation.
Really? Huh.
Being
Oh, wow.
Canadian French, it's Edmund Brisson.
Right.
Yeah, that's one for you
See
to
that?
remember, Connor. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
but
have
he
to
does go
remember,
by
actually.
Ed Brisson. So.
Yeah, well, he'd have to
Okay.
within.
I guess
That's amazing.
on the topic of Edmund, well, how closely did you guys work together on this?
Pretty closely, I would say. We collaborated pretty well.
Yeah.
He's a joy to work with. He's such a nice guy. So it was a pretty close working relationship, really. We just go backwards and forwards. And I remember reworking the first few fights a lot because we originally we were pulling back from the action a bit. And then I think it was Axel Alonso, and he said, no, let's really pull into those punches. Let's as if you're in the middle of the fight, So I think there was a collaboration from all ends, really. But yeah, working with Ed was great. Given the opportunity again, I'd do it.
Was that the first time?
With Ed? Yeah.
Yeah?
And it was the first time I'd really come across his work. I wasn't really aware of his work that much when they told me I'd been working with him.
Yeah.
And so I went back and picked up a lot of his other stuff. And a lot of the other stuff is kind of crime based and different things like that. And I love reading that stuff. So there was just that connection anyway, which was an admiration of his work.
Did you have any input on the story at all, or was that all Ed?
I think Ed kind of knew where he was going with it. I had to create the gauntlet of characters throughout,
which were fantastic.
Oh, really?
Which was great.
Yeah.
That
Those
was
were fantastic.
Yeah, that was.
Loved your designs.
Yeah, thank you. No, that was me and Ed just going backwards and forwards again, and just coming up with these weird, wonderful characters.
Yeah.
I wish somebody else would use them and utilize them more. It would
Yeah.
have been great
We need to see them
in
more.
the TV series or something like that.
Yeah. How long did
Yeah,
it take
yeah.
for you to design those characters?
A lot of that stuff doesn't take that long anyway. The way I work, it's usually a page per day anyway.
Right.
That's pencils and
Okay.
inks. So, I'd probably do maybe a couple of character sketches probably during the day. I don't know, because you go backwards and forwards because you're trying to fit it in with the other work. So I couldn't really say this one took this long and this one took that long. But as far as, there wasn't really a lot of back and forth. It was, everything was kind of worked out beforehand in the conversation. There was none of me going and somebody going, no, we need this, we need that. We kind of talked it out beforehand.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite original creation, I guess, or someone you really like to draw more than anyone else? Or?
I tell you what, I think the rat was one of the most interesting ones.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah, just from the texture and just from the kind of craziness of it,
Yeah.
It was a definite fave, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, just the way you could get into the dark shadow part of it. But, a lot of the other ones were fantastic to draw as well.
Yeah.
Was that the reason why the Rat of 12 Plagues was also in the other story arc with Sabretooth? Was it because he was one of your favorites?
Yeah, well, no, I think Ed just liked him as well. So
Okay.
he's like, we're going to use him again.
Yeah,
I think that was a great, great matchup between him and Sabretooth because of his healing factor, and then he's got this disease and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you no doubt know, I mean, Sabretooth's first appearance was in Iron Fist.
Oh yeah.
So, it made sense to bring him back in.
That was a great call.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I just remember reading the script of some of those and just laughing out loud, like when they put the guy in the
washing machine.
Washing machine. Yeah. I was just reading that. I'm like, this is great.
I loved. I was flicking back through it today, and when Danny's paying for the damage to the bar, Sabretooth just breaks a pool table right over his head. It's like, so I guess
they need to go at it again. Yeah.
Right.
For those who don't know, what's like your history with Iron Fist? I guess the character itself.
Right. It was one of those ones that I kind of pitched for because I'd always enjoyed Iron Fist. We had, I think it was early 80s in England, we had this anthology comic. Everything was reprinted in England. We didn't really have the American comics coming over, and when you could get them, they were very disparate. So you couldn't get a run of anything. Like if you got a Shogun Warriors one week, you might get a ROM Space Knight the next week.
That's the same way here too in the Philippines back then.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've discussed it before about how like my random early comic reading was just whatever was in the newsagent. So
yeah, but I think that works out better because you're willing to accept more the diversity.
And you get really good at jumping into stories. Like everyone's now like, oh, you have to start at number 1, and I'm like, well, when I was first reading comics, I just grabbed anything and like, you get the basic idea. They're good. They're fighting bad. They're not rocket science. So
and I think if you've got that choice, if you're reading Spider-Man, next month you'll pick up the next Spider-Man comic. You won't necessarily go, oh man, there's no Spider-Man. Oh, I'm going to get the Human Fly instead. It's like it's a different a different approach to it. So we had this anthology comic called Blockbuster, and the Iron Fist stories were in there. So kind of that's when I really first latched onto it. I was aware of Iron Fist before. Has been in Spider-Man stories or whatever, but yeah, I think Blockbuster that was very much the first time I kind of latched onto it.
Yeah.
Do you remember whose work that was? Whose run?
That was straight from the beginning. That was the Larry Hama stuff.
Oh.
And then going into the Gil Kane stuff and everything. So You know, that was they reprinted it straight from that point.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
I still think that's some of the best stuff. You know, that very first stuff. Yeah. So, you know, a few of us have a history with martial arts on this podcast. Have you ever dabbled yourself because of like Iron Fist, maybe?
No,
or?
I was just sitting at my drawing board since I was born. So.
Were you ever a fan of the martial arts films?
Yeah, my brother was. I think the closest experience I had with martial arts was my brother. I got two older brothers. So the middle one had made some nunchucks out of pieces of wood and gaffer tape.
Yeah.
And some chain link. And he was swinging it around in the garden, and it just came up and straight in my head.
Oh no!
That's my closest encounter with martial arts.
Wow, that's
you were
exactly.
at the receiving end.
I would also always be at the receiving end.
So, for your obviously you were drawing a lot of fight sequences in this book.
Right.
What were you drawing on? Were you drawing on films or like magazines or anything, or YouTube?
Yeah, I
even?
mean, I was well aware of the Enter the Dragon and all this. Basically, I was well aware of that because my brother was into that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would draw on different aspects and see if I could get the movements correct.
Right.
But then, me and Ed would just kind of we were kind of riffing on what Matt Fraction had done previously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he would just make up a move. And we would do something with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then of the names that you guys came up with.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember now.
They're all pretty fun, though.
They were pretty fun.
But I remember the one they wouldn't let us do, and I'd done an homage to a Zek cover with Wolverine and Captain America.
Yeah, we saw that.
Iron Fist, and we wanted to put in that this move was called the Zek. And it was
that would have been nice.
They wouldn't go for it.
That would have been really cool. I love that part that was in, I think, issue 77.
Right.
I think that was the last issue that you illustrated for the series.
Yeah.
And it was a tribute to Captain America Annual number 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's an iconic pose. Was that something that you planned all along to include, or
no, it just
spur of the moment thing?
Yeah, it just felt right. I mean, there's a lot of power in that image, in the original one. So, I wanted to just play around with that. I mean, the amount of power in it is brilliant. So that spoke to me on that level.
Yeah.
And then the chance that we could have had, this is the Zek move.
Yeah, it would have been great.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the run, which was kind of weird anyway, it was, people were saying, oh, you get a really long run on Iron Fist. And I was like, it's just 12 issues. I'm like, no,
it feels like a long run these days.
It was like from 1 to number 77.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning.
I guess I'll go a bit broad here. What's kind of your history with comics, I guess? What were do you remember your first ones, how you got into them, or?
I think I was always reading them.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the British anthologies. We had this long format landscape thing called Titans, and it was just reprint of Marvel stuff. But it was kind of in a landscape format. So you would get two pages per page, So that's where the interest kind of kicked in, really.
Okay.
And then it was about 76, Captain Britain came out, and I was 6 years old, and that was my jam. It was like, this is a real British superhero.
There you go. Me and Mike are the same age. Just revealed there. The impact Captain Britain had on 6-year-old Britons is
totally.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, like, because we had to rely on everything else, and all of a sudden there was, a British one, and we had comics, but not, it was a big deal.
It was, and just the fact that it was original material, which wasn't really done in the Marvel UK stuff.
That's cool.
And there was this big lead-in with a silhouette of, Britain's own hero is coming, so it was
That's really cool.
And then Captain Britain came out, and it just kind of proved to me, even at 6 years old, it was in my brain. It was like, oh, okay, so I can draw this stuff. This is.
Wow.
I mean, it was drawn by Herb Trimpe, who was an American, and Chris Claremont, who was an American, even though he came from Britain originally. So it was kind of, okay, so there's something, even though we had all the other stuff, we had the Beanos and the Dandies, I was kind of more into the illustration side of it. And then 2000 AD came out in 77, and that was it. I mean, that was just, that blew my brain completely. That and the Doctor Who Weekly and things like this, which were just showing me that it could be done over here.
Yeah.
So many styles as well. I mean, like, I mean, like, for 2000 AD, like, we had a lot of the, girls won't like that. That's not, but my cousin would always buy it. So, like, every time we visited, and we'd go there every summer, so we'd have all of our Spider-Man and Asterix and the whole mix of whatever we'd picked up, because we got comics instead of pocket money. So that's how ours was. Like, you're allowed one each, and then we'd all swap. And so we'd always go to my cousin's, and he'd have all his Action Man toys out and all his 2000 ADs, and there'd just be this massive rush of us all reading each other's.
Excellent. No, but 2000 AD was just mind blowing. I mean, it was especially because originally, they started off with a lot of the Spanish artists that they'd be using on previous comics. And then it was just kind of, they started to pick up a lot of the British guys with McMahon. Well, McMahon was from issue 2, but with Bolland and Gibbons and Gibson, and just these British guys were just fantastic. And so again, that just kind of concentrated my mind and was like, okay, this is really something you can do.
Did you start drawing as soon as you saw Captain Britain in 2000 AD?
Yeah, I was drawing even before then. I was drawing probably from when I was 2 years old. I was drawing comics. I mean, it was just
cool.
It was just something inside, It was
you just had to draw them.
Yeah. But I started selling my comics at school when I was 14 or 15.
Cool.
And I don't know, it was like 10, 20p or something. But what I would
whoever bought those are rich now. I'm pretty sure they put it up on eBay or something.
I don't think they bought them for the comic. It was. I would stick a fun-size Mars bar on the front.
Oh well, that's just business sense.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of it was derived from 2000 AD characters. There was a Judge Drake character, there was a Slane character, there was a Rogue Trooper character. So it was all kind of based on that kind of era, really.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah,
anyone ask for the next issue or something?
Yeah, I did about 3 or 4 issues of it.
Cool.
And other people got in touch with me and wanted to contribute scripts as well, all that kind of stuff.
Oh wow! You're like,
that's amazing.
Do you have pictures of these floating around? Yeah.
I've got them somewhere.
I'm really curious.
Amazing.
I have to dig them out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did some drawings when I was younger, but I just didn't really progress, I guess.
Right.
So I just remember, like the feeling that you had even at 2 years old. You know that when you see something that you like, you just draw it.
Right.
Right. And how when you watch a certain movie and then you just come home and you draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you just got more interested and invested in it than I was.
Yeah.
And I just stopped. But you what kept you going?
I don't know. It was just a case of I knew that I wanted to do it. I mean, it was just, and there was. I'm not saying my parents were encouraging me, but they weren't discouraging.
Right, and that's a huge deal.
So I think that's even better than if they encourage you. Because it's you're left to your own devices. They're not trying to push you in a certain way. And so there wasn't that kind of turning around going, no, I really think you should try to be a doctor. Something like that.
Yeah.
So, because they could see my interest in art and everything. So it was more of a case of me just, and I guess they kind of liked it, but I was quiet, just in the corner somewhere.
Everybody wants their kids to have. Everyone wants their kids to have a talent, right? As well, they want you to be good at sport, music, art, academics, whichever. So I guess
it was easy. What do you want for Christmas? Oh, pencil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it was more than that. I'm sure I wanted the Star Wars figure.
I'm sure you wanted the Star Wars figure.
I was actually bribed with the Star Wars figures. My mum wanted me to learn violin, and she said, "Well, if you learn violin, I'll buy you a Star Wars figure every week." So
wow, that's pretty good.
I think I got bribed with. I think I got bribed with. You don't have to do piano if you do violin.
Well, I was doing piano at the same time. So,
I hated the piano so much. I was like, yeah, sure, violin, whatever, bring it. My mum was a violinist though, so there was an expectation that we would all give it a go at least. So.
Right.
Oh, I had a bad experience with piano. I was doing piano. My mom wanted me to learn piano, but I was doing martial arts at the same time.
Whoa.
And so my teacher said, I need, my fingers were too hard. I couldn't, play the piano properly. So she said, I need to stop doing martial arts. So instead, I stopped playing piano.
Yeah.
I quit going to her classes.
You could have done a really original version of Chopsticks.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Maybe I should go back to her and give that a try.
Yeah,
so it's all martial arts for me.
Was that why you were so interested in Iron Fist with the martial arts?
Yeah, it was. I think I was into the comics, superheroes, and then there was Bruce Lee. We love the Bruce Lee movies, the Jackie Chan movies, and so when I saw Iron Fist, my dad bought me a reprint of Iron Fist number 3 by Claremont and Byrne.
Right.
I immediately latched onto the character.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I had no idea. I would love the character from the start.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Connor, you're a martial artist as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still am, and that was a big draw for Iron Fist for me as well. And since Iron Fist does multiple styles, like I never got into Shang-Chi because it's just the master of Kung Fu. It's like, okay, I'm not big on Kung Fu, but it's good you stopped
You can do more.
Because if your finger's already hard, there's that famous saying, you cannot master karate and help your grandchild with a jigsaw puzzle in the same life. So, really mess up the hands. So, speaking of the master of Kung Fu, though, you did 2 issues. I guess it's kind of a team.
Hold on, before we get onto this, I want to know if you've created your own chops, like Mike Perkins was doing.
No, I have not.
It's a challenge for next barbecue.
I could try, but the ones we get are pretty good. So yeah.
Okay, sorry. What was the question?
No, that's fine. Yeah, don't ask me too much about martial arts because then I'll start talking and won't stop. As this podcast knows, unfortunately,
he's our expert. So
just whenever there's like an Iron Fist comic and there's no martial arts, I'm like, what am I reading here?
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, Shang-Chi. So obviously, Marvel's two big martial artists, Iron Fist and Shang-Chi. So where do I start? So I guess it's kind of a team up, but it's mostly them fighting because Shang-Chi's possessed, which is nice to see Iron Fist not be possessed for once because he's always possessed. So what was it like drawing those two? Were you drawing them with did you have different styles of how they fought in your head, or to sort of separate them?
I think it goes back to what you were saying. He's the master of kung fu.
Yeah.
So whereas Iron Fist has mastered a lot of different things. So, I think Iron Fist is kind of more fluid in a way. But he's also got the backup of having that Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So whereas Shang-Chi doesn't have a superpower as such. So there's different aspects of that. One of the things that I really enjoyed with those things, and you could see it with the other ones where I was playing around with it a bit, was just the fighting between the two. And I'll often, in classes or things like that, I'll often tell people that, it's my job to exploit the reader in some way, to control the reader.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times with those fights, the problem with fight scenes in comics is they're so quick. Like you just see it and you look at it and you flip the page. And,
Yes.
So that's why I was like, Ed would send in a script and say, okay, so the first panel is this, and the fifth panel, which is the last panel, is this. Just put a fight scene in between. And
and
so
very specific.
Right. And so he would get back this page of a 38 panel page, with different things on there. And really that was...
Oh, is it this one? This?
Yeah. So that
very good.
That is my way of slowing the reader down.
Mm.
And to show that this fight has been going on for a long time, rather than you just looking at that one big image of them fighting, and that's it. You're done.
Yes. So
it was really my way of manipulating time.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
And as an artist on a comic, you really have to learn that. You have to kind of learn how to speed things up, slow things down. To guide the eye around the page, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Did you get an adrenaline rush?
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you go ahead. I'll ask after. You were saying something about the story?
Yeah, no, it's just that is your job, to be a storyteller and to guide.
Yes.
That's your main job as a comic artist, is to be a storyteller.
True. Did you get an adrenaline rush, drawing Shang-Chi and Iron Fist going at it?
Yeah, I think you get an adrenaline rush anyway with anything you enjoy doing. So I've never kind of lost that childhood sense of wonder of actually drawing comics. So every time you sit down to draw the comic, it's just you're totally enjoying it. So yeah, you get the adrenaline rush. Even with the Swamp Thing stuff I'm doing now, which is it's great fun to do.
It's incredible as well. So.
Yeah, it's one of those characters that I've always wanted to draw as well. So because you kind of just go wherever the brook is taking you, really.
You can do anything with him, I think.
Right. You don't have to follow the rules. It's
a bunch of moss.
It's not like Iron Man, right? I think like Iron Man, where it's all, it's tech and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you don't have to worry if you've got the costume, like if there's continuity with the costumes and things like that. And
you don't have to do that with something. It changes from panel to panel.
Yeah.
So
that's easier, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's easier because you just put a lot more detail.
That's true.
It's an incredibly detailed character.
Easy might be a stretch. Yeah,
that's the thing. Unlike with Iron Man, it's it's very scaled, and you've got to get your proportions right. Unlike with something, you can go crazy with it.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know if Marvel have like guns trained on us. I'm not sure, but when you were drawing Iron Fist and Shang-Chi fighting, did you have in your mind like who's the better fighter, or did you just have them as equals going at it? Or I'm not asking who you think's better. I'm just
you are.
Well, I'm curious, were you drawing like?
I think Iron Fist is better, but
right.
It's like the traditional thing is like if it's in an Iron Fist comic, Iron Fist more like to win. It's like if you're talking to an Iron Fist podcast,
that's true.
You say Iron Fist is better.
I could have worded it better. I more wanted to say, it's like if you're drawing it, I don't know, maybe in your head you have like Iron Fist is feeling really pressured this whole time, and Shang-Chi's on the offense, like if someone's dominating the fight or something, or if it was just.
I think most of that would come from Ed. I think.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, if you're thinking of the characters, I think, in a way, I think Danny would be holding back a bit more because he knows that Shang-Chi is possessed and it's still his friend.
Yeah.
Yes. Whereas Shang-Chi being possessed, he wouldn't even know who Iron Fist was. He'd just fighting. So I guess there's more of a brutality from that approach. Than Iron Fist's approach.
Yeah.
So if it was a one-on-one in that way, Iron Fist would be holding back, and Shang-Chi probably would have won.
Yes.
It's a clever way of avoiding, answering the question of who would win because one of them's possessed. So
yeah, but the other one has an Iron Fist. So
that's true.
It's never going to be a fair way to answer that because you're not. You need to have the fight when Danny's depowered, which
Well, that might be happening now, so maybe.
Yeah, let's not go there. We're not discussing
maybe in the future.
So on the subject, was there a favorite fight in the series for you to draw, or even a favorite moment actually? Like,
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I really enjoyed the Gauntlet guys. I think that was for me. I just really enjoyed the interaction of those, and it was, it was a classic martial arts film where you have to go after, or a computer game or something where you have to work your way through and everything. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I remember the delight of opening the issues and learning who they all were and going, oh, it's a new person. Like, what's their powers? And then some of the interactions were unexpected and some of them were straight fights. And it was really lovely as a reader to go in and have it explained by the words and the pictures and the fighting styles. And so it was really, really good one.
Yeah. Oh, well, plus you didn't even know if he was going to win. And sometimes he didn't.
And where the double crosses was going to come in, and so I remember there was a lot of discussion of what do they do now? Like, what are we going to do now? The Gauntlet's done. What happens next? Then going on this, because sometimes you just, and there's something nice about going into a character like that and not really being sure of what's going to happen and having some of those. Oh, maybe he'll lose this fight.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny how rare martial arts tournaments are in an Iron Fist comic. Like, because you think there'd be heats, but this is really the only one we saw through to the end, because in Immortal he gets knocked out in his first fight. So it's like, and then that turns into a political thing, which is great, but it was really awesome just to see a straight up, tournament. So that was a lot of fun. Sorry, I just lost my questions. Oh yeah, so I was noticing. So these came out monthly, right?
Yeah.
And so you didn't have any trouble meeting the deadlines for anything?
No, I never do. It's
Wow.
Even if you approach it from a mathematical point of view.
Yeah.
The issue is 20 or 22 pages long. You do a page per day, and that is basically a month.
That's true.
If you don't take
months
into account,
And so as long as you have the lead time.
Yeah.
For that
issue.
Not
even lead time. Marvel don't give you lead time.
Oh, I think I hear the phone ringing.
No, really. I mean, with Marvel, really, a lot of the times it was a case of you would do the last page, and then 3 weeks later it will be on the stands. I mean, it's just straight out the door.
Wow, yeah.
And so you do not get a lot of lead time in Marvel.
Did you ever think that you could, you could do like a John Byrne and draw 2 comics at the same time?
I've done it in the past.
Okay.
And I've done it. The thing is, with John Byrne, when he was doing that kind of stuff, I mean, he wasn't inking himself. He was penciling. So it's a different approach. I did it on when I was doing Carnage. I was doing my creator-owned book, Rowan's Ruin, at Boom as well, at the same time, and that just got insane because I was the only way I could do it was to get up at 4:00 in the morning and start Rowan's Ruin and do that until 10:00. And then put it aside and then work on Carnage from 10 until 6. And then go to bed, then get up at 4 again. And I did that for 4 months. And I was just, I was out of it.
Wow.
And most of that was because I had a little bit of lead time on Rowan's Ruin. But then they moved it, because it was supposed to come out at a Halloween time. And then they moved it forward so it would come out at the New York Comic Con. Right. And which was at the beginning of October, and I'm like, you just lost me 3 or 4 weeks.
No.
Yeah.
And they said, no, we didn't. It's still coming out in October. It's like, it's instant, And so that's why it all became, that kind of process of getting up and,
Yeah.
And it kind of got a bit insane, really. And so I like to just concentrate on that page per day. I'd still like to do some creator-owned stuff. I still have ideas. Me and Mike Carey still want to do a prequel and a sequel to Rowan's Ruin.
Great.
But again, it's just having the time for both of us, because Mike's involved with script writing and novels and everything.
Yeah.
And and my work is it's a constant treadmill. Because you finish the issue and it's like, okay, I finished the issue. Okay, next one.
Right.
But I mean, as a fan, I don't like to see filling issues. So as a creator, I kind of, if I take on a title, I want to do every issue.
Interesting.
We did note that, didn't we? Like me and Connor were talking this morning about how there was you'd done every issue of it and how unusual that is now.
Yeah.
Well, not totally unusual, but kind of unusual to not have any.
Well, I think the thing is as well is even if I know that there's not a lot of lead time, if I know I'm going away for a week or something, I'll make up that time somehow. I'll do an extra few hours. I'll do some do some work at the weekends or whatever.
Yeah.
So that I've got that time built in by myself.
Still there. Yeah.
Because I know from a fan point of view that I would hate for there to be a film. We had to have a film on the Swamp Thing run, but that was because I was moving from the States to over here, and we just didn't know how much time that would take.
It could take a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're excused. It's fine.
But it was from the Cray, so it was fine.
I'm sure they'll understand.
So this was like coinciding with the Netflix show. I'm just wondering,
Right.
like behind the scenes, was there any sort of guidelines you had to follow from Marvel? Like you couldn't do certain things, or it was just free reign, basically?
The only thing that they really wanted was to get it out when the Netflix show was coming out.
Yeah.
Especially with the first issue. And I think because of that, the first issue sold incredibly well for an Iron Fist comic.
Yeah.
And I think that gamble played off. And then people watch the Iron Fist show and then sales started to go down.
Oh no.
That's too bad.
But,
I think you had an interview.
I didn't watch it. So.
Oh, watched it. Interesting.
I thought the first season was pretty good. I mean that's an unpopular opinion, but I wouldn't be turned off by it.
Right.
Yeah.
The truth, I didn't see a lot. I still haven't seen Daredevil. I still haven't seen Jones, and it's mostly because I've got a daughter. She's 12, so at that time she was 8 or whatever. And so it was kind of, I'd be working, and then I'd want to spend time with her.
Yeah.
And then if we were going to watch something, it couldn't necessarily be something crazy. And then you get to 10 o'clock because I'm an early riser getting out, and so you get to 10 o'clock and I'll be out of it.
Yeah.
And then I just ended up not watching anything. And if we were watching something, it would be a British murder mystery thing. It'd be Midsummer Murder.
Something gentle, and easy.
Yeah, like my wife's favourite program was Rosemary and Thyme. Which
is a lovely show.
It was simply because it's murder mystery and gardening.
Yeah, it's a gentle show you can unwind to, and it's just like I do similar things at the moment. I watch an hour of TV a day, so because I work and then I cook and then we watch something and then I have to go to bed to get up at 4 in the morning again. So it does become this juggle of people like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you seen that? No, because unless it falls in that thing I want to watch that's the hour, it's going to get put off till the weekend. So.
Yeah, well, when I was working on Carnage, we always used to go to Europe for a couple of months during the summer when we were living in Florida, and at one point my wife and daughter had to go over early. And I was like, no, I've got to work. So they went over, and I was like, this is great. I can watch Penny Dreadful. I can watch all this, all this stuff. And I would do my Carnage pages, and I'd sit down to watch TV, and I'm like, I'm just going to rewatch Star Trek films.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Like all that horror was there on the page. Yeah. It was just kind of like, let me just watch something easy.
How much inspiration do you take from different sources when you're doing a comic? Like if you're doing Star Trek, do you watch Star Trek shows? If you're doing Iron Fist, do you watch kung fu films, stuff like that?
I think things with Star Trek and stuff like that, I've never really done that kind of stuff. So I think you would have to a certain extent, watch stuff. But I've also, I did the adaptation of The Stand, and I never watched the TV adaptation or anything like that, because I didn't want it to influence me. I wanted the influence to come from the original source.
Totally.
Yes, that's right.
So if there was another aspect of that original source, I didn't want to know.
Yeah.
A few years back, I did weirdly enough, I did an adaptation of Battlefield Earth as well.
Right.
And
it's a bit out there.
even the church, the church saying, "Don't watch the film; it's shit."
Wow.
It's like,
that's pretty funny.
My father-in-law made me watch that film. That's all I can say about it. And then said, my husband disappeared, we ended up watching it, and he's like, best film ever. And I was just like, I'm going to be polite. I've got to be polite. I'm just going to nod and say I'm going to bed now. Bye.
He didn't disappear after he was saying he didn't like it. I mean, he didn't disappear.
No. No, he was like, I'm really busy. I'll go do some work while you guys watch a film. So.
I hate this film. And then he disappeared.
Yeah. It'd be even more worrying. Yeah.
You do take on different aspects. I remember I was working at a comic shop when I was 15, and I remember going in there, looking through the comics and everything, and the guys in the comic shop were saying, "Go." They looked through my work, and it was great, but I was so centered on comics, and they looked at my work and they said, "Go and watch Strangers on a Train," and so I watched it, and it was it just changed the way I viewed how to put a panel in and all this kind of stuff. And when I was working on Cap, I remember Ed Brubaker saying, he said, "Go and watch Memoirs of a Geisha." I'm like, okay. And so I watched it. I enjoyed it. But he said the thing to look out for is within that film, the main character who's in that scene is never in the center of the frame. They're always off to the left or to the right. And that was just to bring the depth of the scene into it. Because once you put something in the center, they become, that's all you can see. And so that's what Ed was saying with Cap. He was like, always try to put him off so we got some depth of vision there and things like that.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So, with back to this Iron Fist run, was it always just going to be 12 issues, and then
for you?
No, it never is. And I think they told us at some point that we were going to be going for 12 issues or something. And I can't remember how it came about. They kind of moved me on at that point.
Right.
And I didn't even know it was going to carry on. Issues. Because I'd already agreed to go into something else.
Yeah.
And then they brought somebody else on. I think Damien did it. And it was, it was a bit disappointed by it all. And I think
I was surprised you left. I thought that was,
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a surprise all round.
It was a surprise for me as well.
Yeah, which is a shame.
I always assumed
it wasn't that they got rid of me on the book. It was more of a case of they were putting me onto different stuff.
Yeah, but so.
Okay.
And I think just trying to remember what it was. They wanted me to. There was this whole Wolverine thing coming up.
Yeah.
And Bendis was going to do it. And they wanted me to do something on that. So I was all for it. I was like,
because, Wolverine.
Yeah. And then Bendis left, went to DC. And at that point, I was thinking of moving over to DC anyway.
Right.
And so it just kind of, the whole Wolverine thing fell apart and all this kind of stuff. And so I was kind of left dangling after I'd finished Iron Fist. And it was going to carry on. And I was kind of like...
Which is such a shame when it was so good as well.
I was like,
it's like it was ramping up.
That, But they'd already set the other artist off and all this kind of stuff. So, it was a shame. It was a shame.
I guess so.
Yeah, I think they already knew that they were canceling the comic probably after a few issues, and so they decided, to move you elsewhere.
Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
And plus, you can understand it. I mean, it's a business.
Yeah.
So if they can move an artist on who's probably more expensive than the artist they're bringing in, it makes financial sense for them as well.
Yeah.
I always assumed the Damnation, because the stuff after you was just a Damnation crossover.
It's all crossovers.
I kind of assumed that it was meant to end when you left, and then they decided to extend it for a few issues. But
that's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also true.
I would have
I
liked
think
it to
that's
go
what
for
happened.
100 issues, but hey.
Yeah, wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
But then I guess we wouldn't have.
I almost did it.
current
77.
stuff.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and you skipped a few.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The longest run ever.
I'm really sorry about this.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, last question I have on here, actually, it's your question, Omar. So there was an interview you did before the announcement that you'd be on Iron Fist. You were asked about your favourite characters that you'd like to draw. You mentioned Daredevil and Iron Fist, especially the more gritty take on the characters. How did it feel when you had one of your wishes come true?
Oh, it was great. I mean, at that time as well, I think I kind of knew that Bendis was going to be doing a Defenders book as well.
Right.
And I was thinking that'd be interesting to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Daredevil and Iron Fist, they were always some of my favorite. I mean, Daredevil's just inspired so many creators to do their best.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's true.
And so there's a magic to it as a creator, that you can come in and be part of that legacy in a way.
That's true.
Iron Fist as well, it's had some great runs, but it's had some dodgy runs. So it's more of a kind of, I can do something really good with this, rather than coming in and dealing with that legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, it must be also scary if you did Daredevil to think he's never really had a bad run. Like,
he's had some bad ones.
Yeah, but if you compare him, on a sort of line with other characters, is generally very consistent. To me, I'd be like, oh no, what if mine's the one? But yeah. That may be because I'm a pessimist who panics about things.
Being offered Iron Fist was great. And I remember talking. I was at a convention the weekend after they'd offered it to me, and I was talking to Jeff DeCal, and he was like, I love Iron Fist. It's my favorite character. And I was like, do you want to do the covers? He's like, really?
Oh, those covers are.
I said, as soon as I get home, I'll talk to editorial and tell them what a big fan you are.
Oh.
And,
so we have you to thank for that as well, because those were incredible covers.
Oh, yeah. Totally. I mean, the thing is, when I'm drawing a book, I like to do the covers myself as well.
Yeah.
But I could see what a big fan Jeff was, and I was thinking that'd be great if we could work together. So that was really fun to work with Jeff.
Right. You were able to do at least one variant cover,
right?
And
the first one,
and the lenticular cover.
Yeah, which didn't work.
Yes.
That always makes my eyes go funny.
It made my eyes hurt. I couldn't buy any of them. It was like I understand why it's great, but I just look at them and it gives me a headache. And I can't have that in my house.
DC did them at the same time, and they worked really well. But the Marvel ones, I don't know if
there was something about it. Yeah.
I think the person putting them together had a astigmatism or something.
There was something about them. They were almost, there was too much, and because
it's a bit harder,
somebody wanted me. I bought them for a couple of people who wanted them and couldn't get them, and I was just like, I can't look at them though. Like somebody else have to envelope them up for me, and like.
Yeah, and when you sign them, even with a Sharpie, it sucks all the ink in. It's like,
yeah. Did you sign a lot of those?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel sick every time I do it.
I don't remember anything like this.
I actually bought 5 copies of that one. Just because, because it's an homage cover. Yeah, it's an homage cover. You've got, John Byrne, you've got Mike Perkins version.
Yeah.
So
you don't remember the lenticulars, or you don't remember feeling like that?
I don't remember seeing anything that made me feel what people are describing. I don't know. Like it's hurting their eyes.
I'm so sad that I don't have it, just so I can send it to you now, Connor. Because like you'd be a perfect recipient. We could like test it.
I'm just saying that out of the three of you, you're the only one not wearing glasses.
Right, yeah.
Fair point.
Reason for that.
Yeah.
Someone should send a picture on to me later so I can get it.
I will,
on
don't you worry.
Send your video a GIF.
So I just have, if anyone else has any questions, let me know. I just had one question I wanted to ask before we wrapped up. I don't know about any of you guys or.
No, I'm good.
Right. I just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was just thinking about you drawing Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Was that like? Did that feel good drawing two characters that that haven't really met up for a long time, and then they're going at it. I was always thinking that Sabretooth was originally an Iron Fist villain, and then before he moved on to the X-Men.
Right.
So what's it like, bringing two classic characters together? And, one was ferocious and one's, more agile and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, all those characters who are a little bit insane. They're always fun to draw.
Yes.
And I'm such an X-Men nerd anyway, so it was fun. It was fun drawing Sabretooth. Plus the fact of getting him in a more kind of normal costume.
Yeah.
And things like that. And there were certain aspects that I just loved, like when they went into the bar, the supervillain bar.
Yes.
Tarantula.
I love that fight.
It was great. It
was great.
So there's certain aspects that with that tarantula, with the supervillain bar, we wanted, I can't remember who it was now. We wanted somebody else on the door when they go in, and we were told we couldn't use. Oh, I wish who it was now. They said, "Oh, you can't use that character." Yeah.
Was it Stiltman by any chance?
Which one?
Stiltman.
No.
Well, someone said pretty much the same story. They wanted to use Stiltman in some role and they weren't allowed to. So I wasn't sure if it was.
It wasn't Stiltman. I would have remembered that one. I can't remember. I have to go back on my emails and see if Ed mentioned, or in the script. It might be in the script. I don't know.
It's pretty funny.
But yeah. So Sabretooth was great fun to draw.
Yeah, I love the Sabretooth.
All those insane guys, it's always, you can really get your teeth into it.
Was there any character from Iron Fist mythology that you wanted to draw that you didn't get to? Or, I mean, there's not many really, but...
It's a tricky question. I don't know. I mean, we were playing around with so many of them.
Yeah. Maybe the plant people.
Don't make us try and say that. Don't make us try and say their name. So I have flashes of trauma every time. There's a reason we call them the plant people.
The plant people.
I think the biggest thrill was to create new ones. I think that was.
Yes.
That was the biggest thrill in it.
Totally.
And to do those characters that you knew are good. I mean, you're coming up with them, and you're thinking these are things that can just stay around.
And you never know; they sometimes come back years later. Who knows?
Oh, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And anybody can just run with it. You've got these wonderful characters. Right. And they haven't been used much, and just to see that they created new characters for Iron Fist, I was so totally happy with that one. Just the fact that even in the interviews with Ed before the series started, he said that you were designing these characters. Right. I said, "Wow!" We're getting new ones.
And such interesting ones as well. I mean, you got a martial arts guy without any arms.
Yes. That was really cool.
It's really fun to do.
Yeah.
Was that the Eel of Blessed Waters or something? Was that
You
him?
probably know better than I do.
I don't remember which was which.
I know Sabretooth killed the water guy. And Iron Fist was like, hey man, you just killed someone.
And the rabbit as well with the
the rabbit.
the blades at the feet. Yeah, that was really good fun.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was cool.
It's always good to get more Iron Fist, characters.
Totally.
Yeah, so we just want to thank you for that.
I enjoyed it. I wish we could have, carried it on and on.
So
I think one day Ed and I will get back together on something.
Yeah.
We're just in different places at the moment. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Did Ed want to do more Iron Fist, or was he happy with just the?
I think so. I mean, he really enjoyed the character.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook the other day, and I put up the Iron Fist 1 variant because sometimes I just repeat artwork. I just put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ed came on. He's like, "Oh, who's that? Is that a new character?"
Cheeky.
I'm like, "Yeah, that's the guy with the shiny hand." And he fights the villain, Ed the Bison. And Ed's just like, "Oh, can I write that? That sounds awesome."
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Oh.
I was actually. This is my last question, I promise. But nearly every major Iron Fist run has had Davos the Steel Serpent in it, except your one. Was he ever on the cards to make an appearance, or?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
No, not that I know of. I think the dance card was full at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it was just to bring another one back, just for the fun of it. It didn't seem to fit.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It would have been weird with what we got. If it had gone on, who knows? I'm sure Davos would have turned up.
Yes, he would have. And we would have wanted to see your version of him.
Right. I think talking. There were certain things as well that we wanted to do, and I remember when Ed and I were at a convention down in Fort Lauderdale, and we did a signing just outside Orlando, and he stayed at my house for a couple of days. And I remember us talking about different things, and he's like, I don't know. I think this is when he was doing the Damnation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And and he was like, was it? Maybe he was prepping Ghost Rider. And he was kind of like, well, who can we introduce as the new person who's in charge of Hell,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, why don't you go back to the Iron Fist run and bring somebody in from that and all this kind of stuff?
That's cool.
You use the sister,
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. And I don't know if he really loved the idea. I don't know if he pitched that. I don't think he did that. But I was kind of hoping that they would have gone for it.
Well, she did show up.
She did
show up.
But
I wanted it. Yeah, but I wanted her to be. I wanted her to be the master of Hell.
That would have been cool.
That would have been a cool twist. Yeah.
A really, really big twist. Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad at least you got her to be brought back because she was always one of those plot threads. Like Joy's a plot thread right now. We just don't know where she is or anything. But, yeah. So it's good to have her around, I guess. But
yes.
So I guess we'll wrap up. But obviously, tell us what you're working on now. What are your current projects that you want people to go check out and stuff like that? Right.
Well, Swamp Thing is the ongoing concern at the moment. That was originally just slated for 10 issues. And then it was incredibly popular. So we extended it by another 6. Ram V is writing it. It's wonderful. It really is great. And really that's the ongoing concern at the moment. Don't really have that much time for anything else.
When does that one come back? Is it
that comes back in March.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Because I knew it was on the sort of season break.
Yeah. That's DC. They give you lead times. Great.
There you go. I'm not saying I can see why you move, but I can see why you move.
I guess.
That could be the company's next tagline. DC. They give you lead times.
Give you lead time. Probably work.
I've got my DC flag over there. Flying, So.
You're wearing a Superman t-shirt. You got t-shirt.
Okay, maybe that's a bit of a giveaway. I don't know.
No. If you look at it with the eyes kind of half closed, you got the wings and then the head at the top. And so it kind of looks like the dragon. Kind of looks like the Memphis dragon.
Could be Moon Knight.
Could be Moon Knight. Oh, yeah. If I ever see you in a Moon Knight t-shirt, Connor, that would be a very happy day for me.
Well, they don't really do Iron Fist t-shirts, do they? I have a jumper, but it doesn't fit me anymore because I'm older and fatter.
With the dragon on.
They've got the one with the dragon. Yeah.
Okay.
I have one. It's the cover to Marvel Premiere number 15.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
There's that one.
Right.
Well, sorry for that diversion. Back to you, Mike.
Yeah.
You have a website too, right? That people can check out.
Yeah. MikePerkinsArt.com.
Yep.
I'm pretty much on Facebook. I've got Instagram as well, but it's never updated. I think the problem with Instagram is because I'm by the computer all the time. It's not compatible. It's great if you got the phone.
Yes.
But I'm not really on the phone that much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They do let you upload from computer at least now.
Right.
That's the
that took a while.
Annoying.
Yeah. I mean, that pretty much sums up Twitter. So
yeah.
I spend too much of my life on Twitter and then tell people why I'm annoyed at it. So
right.
I mean, don't get me started on TikTok, which everyone seems to be using. I don't know what that is.
No, please.
You can tell you're a lot younger than us by even mentioning TikTok.
Yes, you are.
So are you appearing at any cons or anything soon, or?
Yeah, I think there's an announcement coming up on Monday. So you have the Goop. I'll be at the London Film and Comic Con at the end of February.
Cool.
And then in March, I'm in Germany. I'm in Leipzig. There's a Leipzig book fair, and we often when I go to Germany, we do a little tour as well around the places. The first time I was in Germany, and it was the first signing we did in Stuttgart, and we're at this place, this big, massive place. And they take me on a tour downstairs of the place. We were there for an hour just looking for the stacks. And finally I go to my signing and I start signing. And the first person comes up, and it's all free sketches and whatever. And so he comes up and I'm like, what would you like? And he said, I'd like a tour. I'm like, I don't work here. I can't do that.
That's amazing.
And he's like, no, I'd like a tour. I'm like, sorry, but you have to talk to the boss or something. I don't do that. And Alex from Panini, who publishes all the stuff over there, he leans over and he's like, he wants Thor.
Oh
no! That's amazing.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So did he get it from you?
Oh dear.
Yeah. So Germany as well.
Awesome.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then probably in June we have the Comic Salopia here in.
Oh yeah, I really want to try and get there this year.
Yeah, because that's more of a kind of festival thing.
Yeah, I really wanted to get there last time, but it's a long way away, or it's a pain to get to. But I went there for a friend's wedding, so I know I can do it in a day as a day trip. So I might try and come to that one.
Yeah. And then Conturn, Luxembourg in July, if everything goes according to plan.
Awesome.
That's a great festival. I love that one.
I'll put what I can in the show notes, and then Bleeding Cool can steal it.
Yeah. Well, they'll have to do that thing down in Australia where they do the was it it's a Perth show and a Melbourne show?
Supernova?
Supercon.
Yeah, I think so.
Supercon?
Yeah.
Supernova. They have to get me over for that one.
Supernova.
Yeah. They have to get me over for that one.
You have to keep recommending him for it.
Just every day.
Yes.
Because I think what they do is they split the casts. So they bring people in, and then they basically show them around for like everybody crams into this little minibus and they go around and then end up at the next convention the next weekend.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? If you've got people over in Australia.
Right. So you're there and you end up in the coach with Jean-Luc Picard or something. Let's see what's out there.
I forgot. It is coming up. I don't think there's any guests or anything listed yet, though.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Not this year, I guess.
Not yet.
Maybe
next year.
COVID costs.
Last year had a pretty good. We had David Wenham and Miranda Otto, but they're both Australian, so.
Right.
Miranda Otto's coming here this year.
Okay.
That's just a random.
All right.
And I'll probably be at the Lakes as well in October.
Yeah, because they've got their new location as well, right?
Yeah, on the Lakes.
I know. I have to see what the travel's like to there as well. So.
Looks like your whole year is pretty booked.
Yeah. Oh,
it must be nice though after,
Yeah. A big change of pace from last year, huh?
Well, I mean, the thing is, because I've been in the States for so long, and I was doing... I didn't really do that many conventions, maybe 3 or 4 a year, really.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm over back in England. I can go to a lot of these conventions, which I couldn't do before, because the expense is too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
awesome.
Kind of
That's right.
Anything else, or?
Nope.
All right. Well, again, thanks so much for coming on. It was a pleasure having you. It was really fun talking.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone else too. You guys are cool as well. So.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed, and have a good one. Bye.
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 Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want really. It doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist. If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon, our Twitter, at Iron Fist Podcast, our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon, hyphens where the spaces are, our YouTube, Connor Carl. Just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section, and last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikorsky for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.